Ten, nine, eight, seven, six, five, four, three, two, one, zero.
And we have Devita here with us. Hello.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good, Devita. How are you?
Good.
Okay, great. So, guys, welcome to House of Experts. My name is Vibha Kagzi. I'm the CEO and founder of Reachivy.com. And it's my absolute pleasure to introduce everyone to Devita Saraf, our guest for today. Devita is the chairman and CEO of View Technologies, a new age technology conglomerate. Devita is from Bombay, has studied at the USC, which is the University of Southern California, and has also studied at Harvard Business School. Was also rated by Forbes magazine as India's model CEO, and has also been a member of Mensa, which is a high IQ society with a very, very small fraction of people being able to belong and represent Mensa too. But other than all her professional, academic, and intellectual pursuits, Devita is also a very dear personal friend of mine, and is someone who I've just known as fiery, feisty, inspirational, and very dependable. So, Devita, thank you for being the complete human being that you are. It's been absolute pleasure to know you for so many years. I literally seen your journey, since our early 20s, I would say. So, congratulations on everything you've done and built.
Thank you. Thank you. It's so nice to be here. And I'm so impressed that, people on a Sunday evening want to listen to us. I mean, I'm not even sure I'm going to listen to myself on a Sunday evening. I'm on like my Sunday casual look, and then people are actually like joining in. So welcome to everyone who is part of this talk. And Vibha, I'm very excited because I've been following House of Experts all through, and of course, Reach Ivy all through the lockdown. I've been seeing all your talks, and I'm the 27th guest, but better late than never. So happy to be here.
All right, episode 27, and of course, Devita Saraf is going to make it super special for us. All right, Devita, let's get started. And
Sure.
since we run a careers and education advisory, I always start with early age. So talk to me about your early years, your childhood, some of the primary influences in your life. Like, what was your childhood like?
I think I had a very interesting childhood. I come from a family business of technology where my father started a PC company called Zenith Computers like a couple of years before I was born. So I've been growing up with high tech and business all around me. And my older brother and I actually got exposure to the world of technology from a very young age. So I attended my first press conference when I was 4, factory
Oh,
visits
wow.
when I was 9, dealer meetings when I was 12. In fact, when I was 16, I once bunked a college exam to attend a NASCOM conference. I started working when I was 17. When I was 18, I moved off to the US to study business. At 21, I joined my father's business, and at 24, I decided that, you know what, at the end of the day, the child of an entrepreneur is also an entrepreneur. And I got the bug to do my own business, and that's when I started out. So, growing up, I think it's always been a very gender equal environment for both my brother and I, which is great. Both of us got like a very ringside view of the tech business, and not just tech, but also the overall, like how new age businesses run, because tech essentially is all about doing new products all the time. And then, of course, even just
So,
my
so you
grandfather.
you had like a 10-year head start on the rest of us, huh? You started your
So
first press conference at the age of 4. Wow. So almost two
and it
decades head start. Okay, wow.
absolutely. And it wasn't just my dad, even my grandfather actually was the one who sort of imbibed me into business when I was just probably 4 or 5 years old. I think he didn't know any fairy tales. So he thought that let me teach her the basics of business, profit and loss, interest, technology when she's this little. And I actually really enjoyed it, to be honest. Like it wasn't that like, oh, this is so boring. I actually used to go and sit where sort of you could say the men of the family are sitting to hear the conversation because somehow I always felt they're doing important and big things in life. And I guess I have that ambition in my blood. So, yeah, I actually have been part of a family business since the day I was born. I've been part of the tech world since the day I was born. And growing up, it was a very enlightening environment. Like all
Okay.
of us are quite pampered and all at home, but getting all that exposure and knowledge from a young age, I think was a very enlightening environment.
Okay, quick question coming in here from Adya Dikshit, who says, which business school did you attend? You want to tell them a little bit about Harvard and your experience there?
So I actually first went to UC Berkeley for a summer. I did management of technology there, which was actually an MBA class that I took when I was just 17 or 18 at summer. I also did marketing, and I realized that that's kind of my passion. So then I went to USC and I did my undergrad in business. And in the meanwhile, I also was interested in business, of course, overall. So I took classes in technical entrepreneurship while doing business school, and even taught an IT class for $11
Oh,
an
wow.
hour. I used to teach Photoshop for $11 an hour. Now I make a little bit more than that, but that was my first job. I got a grand, I used to check off like $200 after working for a few months, and that used to be a big deal for me back then. And I think just again, interest in technology. I went to London School of Economics again for another summer to study game theory and strategic thinking. And then I also went to Indian School of Business for a short course in negotiation. And then I
Wow.
got in. And then I started my company pretty young, so I didn't get a chance to go for my MBA immediately. It's when I turned 34 that I went to Harvard for the OPM program. So I didn't get to do an MBA like you, Vibha, which is OPM,
But
the Owner President Management Program, which I'm currently pursuing. But all my classes are postponed to next year, or I have to do virtual class, which I think is very difficult. So I said I'll just postpone it and finish it next year. So quite a bit of
wow, so actually,
education.
that's a lot of education. Actually, I did not know this. So we share many, many commonalities, Devita. UC Berkeley, I did a summer
Really?
too. I did the LSC
Really?
summer. I did the
No
ISB
way. So
course,
we just
and
like
I've done the
highly
HBS.
so
So
funny.
yeah,
Like, how do you not bump into each other out there? Maybe next course, singularity.
let's let's make singularity happen. Let's do it. Exactly.
Let's do it.
Okay, so Adi, I hope that answered your question. She's been on many, many campuses. She's obviously been the beneficiary of, some supreme education. So Adi, I hope that takes
Very
care of
much.
that. Okay, let's move forward. So what happened? So, you come from this amazing family. You're saying gender equality. So this gender thing was never an issue for you. Lots of
Not in
early
the house for
exposure.
sure.
Not in the house for sure. Great. Okay. So what happens next? How does view happen for you? Tell us the whole story.
So actually, when I started working with my father at 17, and I was in university, every summer I was interning with him. And that's when
Okay.
I really learned the nuts and bolts of the business of everything from product development, understanding manufacturing and sourcing that would happen, of course, a lot between Far East, California, India, Singapore, across the world, to understanding distribution, which was all across the country. And I got a good inside knowledge of how the business works within the country, the distribution especially. Plus, of course, the we have 11 offices, so different teams, different culture, operations. And while I was learning all this business, I felt that at the core, the business that my father was running was more of a budget product. Whereas I felt that, my strength would be to find a customer who I could relate to. And I realized, and this was early 2000s, I realized that the market in India was really growing and there was a demand for more high-end products. But it was always the foreign companies doing the high-end products. The Indian players have always been, whether it's like cars or computers, have Indian always done budget products. So I decided that, what, let me learn to make high-end products and do a luxury tech company. So
Okay.
I went to MIT Media Lab, I went to Intel's Innovation Lab, I went to Apple's Innovation Lab, which is called IDEO. I went to Taiwan's Innovation Lab. And for the first year, I just moved around understanding human-centric product development, that how do you make products, keeping R&D in mind and keeping consumer lifestyles in mind. And I started with building my own lab. I think by the time I was 24, I had my own lab for products. And I didn't raise much money. So I think the only money that I raised was for initially for certain 3 or 4 people's salary, and this cost the rent of a store. And
So
then
you
my first
bootstrap. Now it
working
sounds like
inventory.
you
I pretty
bootstrapped
much, it
your
absolutely bootstrap, boot laced. It was like not even a strap, it was a lace like that. I'm quite Kanjus Marwari at my core, so there was no wastage from day one.
you
And
bootstringed it, huh?
bootstringed it, yes, exactly.
Okay.
And then I came up with this idea of building a brand out of it called View Luxury and Technology, which was bringing science and senses together. And I went up to my father and I said, look, I think the market is going to be more about high-end tech. And India, anyways, does all the back-end high-end tech for the world. We just don't know how to market it. So since I love marketing, why don't I bring those skill sets and do a high-end product? And my father's like, so you want to be CEO of this thing? And I was like, yeah. So I became CEO in like a 3-second decision. And interestingly, for the first 8 years, my dad actually convinced me to shut the business because
Oh,
he's like,
really?
this is
Okay.
India. This is India. Like, who's gonna buy a luxury product? Everybody's not like everyone doesn't have your taste or something. And I was like, look, I can see the sort of seismic change happening in the market. Young people today are very aspirational. They want great lifestyle. They want the best of the world. They want best technology, want the best experience. And I really think I've got something going. So for the first 8 years, our revenue went from 1 0, of course, to 35 crores. And then in 2014-15, when we went online and grew our business again organically, is when we've gone since then from now to 965 crores. So it took
Wow.
8 years to put it together and then it started to grow. And I think clearly now my dad is more
Wow.
satisfied with the business. But when
Wow.
people think in startups, hey, you know what, you're just going to build something at this crazy valuation. I'm quite a traditionalist at my heart when it comes to these things. I'm like, look, I care for how much I earn in a dollar. You know, what that I am able to generate. Can you hear me?
I think there's a slight issue with your internet. There's a slight
Vibha, I
fluctuation,
lost you
slight
there
fluctuation in it.
with my
There's a
internet.
slight fluctuation in, yeah. I can see
Hopefully
myself
it'll
clearly
smoothen
on
out.
screen. Yeah. Okay. So 900
Okay.
plus
So
crore
what
revenue
happened was
now.
then 965. So that's how we actually, so what
Wow.
happens with a lot of businesses, people feel that, hey, you know what, it's just from day one going to be big. But when you start young, you need time to understand the business, build a strong team, strengthen your strategy, get a lot of domain expertise. And that's when you scale it. And you're able to then scale it with the team you have and the money you have. So the good part is that I own 100% of this business and there are no outside investors.
Ah, you have
So
not
that's
fundraised
how
at
the
all.
View business is now.
No fundraising.
No,
Is it on the cards? Do
not
you
even a
want to raise
rupee.
funds? Do you want that whole? You don't want to do it either.
I mean, no one's going to say no to free money. But there was an interesting Harvard class. I don't know if you took it. It said that, I'm sure you would have, but it said that do you want to be rich or do you want to be king? Do you want to own 20%
Right.
of 1,000 crore business? Or do you want a
Or
100% of, say,
100%
a
of
100
the.
of a 100 crore business? And I, personally for
Right.
me, I said, you know what, at this point, I'd rather just have a business that I have full control of, which I think has been great, especially in a situation like this where the markets are volatile and we can make decisions based on what works for us, as opposed to just getting pressure from VCs. But no one's going to say no to almost free money. So if someone wants to come and write me a big check, they know where to find me. But
Okay, of course.
hope is not a strategy. So you can't say that, hey, I'm going to build something and monetize it one day. Build a good business first. If something comes along, why not?
Okay, awesome. What do you think has been the hallmark of your success? I mean, this is no mean feat. Building 1,000 crore business, single-handedly bootstrapping and then building it. I mean, this is the story dreams are made of. What do you think were what's really been sort of the cornerstones of your success? What do you think you did right?
I think one of the things is, I used to have a small little postcard in my first office when I started View, which was in the basement of the family business office. And it said it's better to fail in originality than succeed in imitation. So thankfully, we've succeeded in originality. But the biggest challenge I find is most people spend too much time observing other people. They're just very unnecessarily competitive. Everybody's doing this, so should I. Everyone's learning that, so should I. Everyone's hiring this, so should I. Everyone's putting an ad on IPL, so should I. We've kind of had blinkers and said the relation is between me and my customer. And I
Sure.
want to see their lifestyle and see what I can make for them. So, hey, let me come up with maybe a cricket mode for IPL. But what my competitors are doing is not something that drives me. I mean, I don't enjoy putting people out of business to begin with. So I think the biggest hallmark for us has been the fact that, we've built it based on what drives us and what our customers will see value out of, as opposed to, just finding direction through competition. Because if you're
Sure.
very competitive, the direction is being decided by your competitors. So not being competitive, I think, has been our biggest strength. We're always just competing with ourselves. We're always just like, how do we do this better? You know, how do we get stronger? Like even with my team, I've had the same team for the longest time. How do we get better each time? It's never
Hmm.
this mindset, let me just hire people from competition. So I
Hmm.
think the hallmark for us is the fact that we create, we don't compete. We're not someone who gets, at least I'm not someone who gets a great kick out of beating someone. Yes, if someone tries to harm my business, I'm definitely very protective. But we kind of are like, we make our own rules.
You make your own rules.
And
Okay.
and we live and die by them. Some things work, some things don't, you know, but we make our own rules. We'll do what the hell we want.
Okay, I like that. So you're creating, sort of your own rule book. You're creating your own content. You have not bothered to sort of simply do what the competition is doing, and
Yeah.
it's clearly showing. I'm just going to read out one or two compliments. You've got Shiva Arjun Pallavi. Thank you for that TV, Devita. He says. Um, Someone here is saying, "Oh, people want to know when is the new stock coming out? When is the next TV release? Do you want to
Festive
spill the
season.
beans?"
Festive season. We have some new products lined up. We will keep you very informed. Please follow us on Instagram and announcements will come. But festive season, we're having a lot more new product.
Festive season it is, guys. You know what to look out for. Diwali is coming up mid-November, and that's when you will know. Got a comment here from Uf Mirchi who says, I'm going to stick with the originality and imitation quote. Yeah, I like that one too. That was great. Okay, all right. So, I want to also understand, like, in the technology space, where do you see your company? I know we spoke about this, and you said, hey, I'm not consumer electronics. I'm luxury and I'm technology. So, I want to go deeper into that and explore it on this session today. Where do how do you define your industry, and where do you see the company on the spectrum of luxury, consumer goods, and technology, and where do you intersect with all three?
So thanks for taking this question, which I suggested, because you know what happens is for a lot of people who are looking to build a career, if they see it as just consumer durables, then the market for that is mostly in manufacturing, which is whether you make a fridge, washing machine, AC, TV, etc., speakers, etc. That is consumer durables. That's more in the manufacturing space. The second is where you have consumer tech, consumer electronics. That's when a lot of AV comes in. So everything from the software that runs on your phone to the cold fusion with technology, operating systems, apps, everything go into the consumer tech space. So even Instagram is a consumer tech product.
Sure.
What we've added as a third area in it, which is also a great space for a career, is of course a luxury space. So luxury space
Hmm.
is usually has to do with product or service. For us, it's mostly product with a lot of great service. And here the opportunities are everything where you have a more customer segmentation. So you say, hey, I want to reach an affluent, educated buyer. Now, I can sell a hospitality product, I can sell a fashion product, I can sell a tech product, I can sell, I don't know, automobiles or food or whatever. But my strategy is that I'm going to stick with this segment and I'm going to learn what drives a luxury sale, because a luxury
Hmm.
sale is not as price sensitive as a mass sale. So
Hmm.
what we've done by bringing the three together is, of course, we understand TVs and all the technology and manufacturing of a TV at the core. At the same time, we understand we were the first ones to bring Netflix to India. We're the first ones to bring Android to India. We're the first ones to bring a lot of tech to the software tech to the TVs. So we're the ones who are sort of blending it together. It's the second part. They call it cold fusion in the industry. Like even Apple does that. And
Sure.
then making sure that through luxury, we reach the right sort of market segment that we want to
Okay.
reach. So there are opportunities in all these three fields. You can be working in a TV or factory. You can be working or making product design out there. You can be working in any of the, not just apps, but operating systems. Or you can say, hey, products are ready. I want to be in retail or I want to be in marketing of
Sure.
luxury products.
Okay. Okay. I get. So so you sort of sit at the sweet spot. You're sort of literally sitting at the
Kind of, yeah.
intersection of
Kind
all
of, yeah.
three. Okay. What's going on in the industry? Can you give us a sense of, like, what's the landscape look like? Are you seeing more people enter luxury? Are you seeing people sort of refrain from luxury? What does the industry landscape look like? And, how are you seeing that evolve over the next 3 to 5 years?
So luxury as an industry has really actually changed very drastically in the past 1, 2 years because millennial luxury is very different than what has been the traditional luxury industry. Because millennials want to spend more on experiences than actually owning product. The whole
Sure.
rental economy, even brands like Rent the
The
Runway,
runway.
Backborough Steel, etc., are
Hmm.
actually a different business model, which are more reaching to the millennial consumer who wants experience, not necessarily ownership. The second
Sure.
thing that's changed is luxury has always, of course, been very touch and feel. So the earliest ways of building a luxury tech product, whether you're buying technology or car or jewelry or clothes or bags or whatever, was to actually go there and get this experience of the product. So you'd have these beautiful stores and malls and even in India, which give a luxury experience for the product.
Sure.
However, a lot of that has become very digital.
Hmm.
So luxury brands have been able to cross over and sort of bring that experience online have also done really well. And the most important thing that I see a change in the luxury space is luxury has always been a bit older and formal. So
Hmm.
Louis Vuitton, for example, their customers would be someone who's like 42 years old, worked their way up, wants to buy a bag, wants to have something that they will use as an heirloom. Whereas a younger consumer today is a lot more casual and almost irreverent. So at Balenciaga would, or Saint Laurent, which is again a redo, or Bama is a redo of a existing brand but targeted towards youth, is a bit more like, casual, fun, almost laughing at themselves by like making original versions of their fakes, like how Gucci did, and trying to
Sure.
appeal to a buyer who's now 22 and probably making a lot of money through blogging or
Sure.
whatever different alternatives have come in. So the biggest challenge in the luxury space has been, a bag is a bag. But how you retail it, how you market it, how you position it, what it means has drastically changed in the past few years. And the sort of tipping point happened with the lockdown because
Sure.
the biggest thing that were hit was going to stores and going to events, which was the sort of bedrock of this industry. So even again, as I said, before I entered tech, before I did very cool tech, I understood the traditional part of the business. So same way if someone wants to be in the luxury space, before you want to do super cool Instagram campaigns for a fashion brand, first learn the nuts and bolts of the business. Learn how it works, learn distribution, learn manufacturing, learn pricing, learn predicting, learn
Sure.
management, and then sort of try and reinvent it.
Okay, great. Okay, so you touched upon these trends, how millennials have changed. It's sort of like the experience more than the tangible, etc. How are these trends translating for you into your business? How are you picking up on these trends and saying this is a trend we see, and here's a product or feature or a marketing technique that we're going to now change basis these changing trends?
So actually, this is a change that as view as as a company is high tech, not because we're a follower, because we're a leader. So we started making these changes years ago. So we pretty much decided to be very digital in our not just our marketing advertising, but even our distribution management service, everything like couple of years ago. So when the lockdown hit and nothing face to face was possible, we still were business as usual because we had the systems and mindset in place. The difference today, though, is the fact that you're selling product without showing it.
Hmm.
Secondly, people's lifestyles have changed. People don't just want to watch like some slapstick comedy on TV while having dinner or some soap. They want to be watching interesting shows or documentaries on Netflix and talking about those. And televisions have actually, Netflix has taken more of the book market than the movie
Sure.
market because of their
Sure.
format of content. So we're always seeing, how we manage our business is one thing digitally, how we sell is something else digitally, and also how my consumer's life has changed digitally, that my product will be relevant for him for.
Hmm. Okay. So you're saying you've already these factors have been sort of built into the ethos of
Yeah,
your organization.
yeah, very
Okay.
much, very much.
Okay. Just going to take a little compliment from Mitesh. She says, best picture quality TV brands. Thank you, ma'am. Okay. Thank you, Mitesh, for that compliment. Joy in Story says, nice TVs. I'm using View TV and it's cool. Nice value for money buy. Thank you, Joy, for that compliment. Someone wants to, oh, someone, Anish85. Devita is one of the smartest people around. She should run for Prime Minister. Wow. Okay.
Vote for me. Yes, please
Yes.
do. Agli baar
I
Saraf Sarkar.
didn't
I
have
think we
that
should just
question
have
in our
more.
flow.
We should just have more millennials in leadership. It has nothing to do with me or you, Vibha. You know, I'm sure that between you and I, we can make good strategies. But I think you definitely need more millennials in leadership today, just because, I have to learn from young people in my office. They're giving me a
Yeah,
tutoring on how something works. So respect goes both ways. This mindset that, look, follow your elders, great. I respect them, but follow the youngsters also. They also know
of course.
something.
In
So we
fact,
need like a
a lot of
youth prime
companies,
minister.
the companies are starting millennial boards, no, now. So they want to have a board that's purely only millennials.
Huh.
That will sit as
Huh.
a quasi board next to the main board and sort of work in conjunction. It's something we should definitely look at. Okay, guys, thank you for all your questions and compliments. PK Chaudhary says, great TV. Shazeen says, great to see both you ladies in one frame. Hi, Shazeen. Good to see you on the show. All right. Let's talk a little bit about marketing. I'm always intrigued, Devita. Obviously, I've been to the store in Palladium several times. You can't walk past the store. The store in itself was so compelling. Every time I'd be in Palladium, I was like, oh, I got to take a sneak peek into view and just get an experience of that store. I know you are sort of like the face of your brand. So talk to us a little bit about, why did you want that? Did you always know that you would sort of be the face of the brand? Or was it sort of a strategy? Did it just sort of organically happen? And how has that worked for you?
So I've always been someone who's very much lead from the front kind of person. So even when we would have product launches, meetings, that always, even if I had to break a deal with somebody, like I'm the kind of person they'd see first. So I've never been a very back end shy person. I don't think I've ever had stage fright in my life. So that definitely helped. The second thing is, I felt that building a business like this should also inspire a lot more people to build premium brands, cool brands, innovative brands, brands which are outselling foreign players. And women, of course, as leaders and young people as leaders. So I put myself in the ad to also say that, hey, before you assume it's some old white dude at the back end building this, it's some young Indian woman building it, and so can you. So it was more from also an ability to inspire people.
Inspire.
And inspire. Another angle was also the fact that, it's trust. So what was happening was most people were just slapping some cricketer or actor or I don't know, whichever celeb, as they would say, as the face of their businesses. And if you take in the tech industry, you take a Bill Gates or a Steve Jobs, they're the people who you associate with the company, not the actor in the ad. So
Sure.
I felt that it's a wrongful marketing practice.
As opposed to India, where we think it's Amitabh Bachchan is basically selling at pretty much every he's behind every single product in the country.
That's a very passe way of selling things. And so all these years, I used to say that, listen, when you're putting fake people up front as endorsers, you're lying. You have to build trust. You're lying. You're lying when you say that Ranveer Singh drives a Maruti, or Karina washes her face with Lux. You're lying. You're not being truthful. Here I am in front of you launching a product. Any question you have, you can ask me. And I've been saying this for the longest time. And one of the activities within that was even having my face appear either in an ad or a launch, an article, as like, hey, you have a question, ask me. I'm the one responsible here.
So you wanted to be accessible, huh? You were comfortable with being
accessible,
out there and accessible.
Yes, absolutely. Build trust. Because if you take earlier, when people in India were building companies, they would put their surname. So to be like a Tata or a Birla or somebody whose name you would associate with trust.
Whatever brothers,
as brands,
right? It was always like XX brothers.
Yeah, or that person would be seen who you trust. As brands started coming in, the CEOs then didn't have to be that public face of trust. But it was an uphill battle because not too many people were putting their faces in the ads. And that's why Forbes did an article called Model CEO, which was just an oxymoron for them. Just not out of any compliment on the looks or anything. I don't think they were looking at that. It was just funny for most people. Why is the CEO in the ad? There was some people loved it. Some people were like a little surprised by it. But here's the fun part. 5 years after doing this, 5 years after being in my ads, being the face, doing these Insta lives, talking about it, lockdown came. NCB is picking up your brand ambassador for doing mal or whatever they call it. And now brands are like, oh shit, we are screwed because
Hmm.
our business is going to drop, or our competitors will use this as an advantage, or we're going to lose credibility. And now suddenly people are dropping their, brand ambassadors like flies.
Accidents.
We're just sort of falling over. And I have so many people coming and saying, you know what? It makes sense. We should be the face of our business. If our business goes down, we go down with it. Business goes up, we go up with it. But we are accessible in the social media world to our consumers. And we're
Hmm.
talking of trust. We're
Yeah.
talking of I'm the person you can count on. So
I mean,
sometimes when you take an
I
idea,
think it's really bold and brave of you to just sort of put yourself out there and say, guys, this is me, this
it
is my company, and talk to me,
absolutely.
you know?
And you know what happened was the first few years, I would say the response was 50-50. Some people were like, great idea. Some people were like, why are you doing this? Today, 100% will say, you know what? We will buy a product where the CEO is showing the damn face saying, Vibha Kagzi went to freaking Harvard and will send you there too.
Sure,
That's the
sure.
faith that people want. And I think that's what being the face of your business is about. It's all about just building credibility.
Absolutely. And I think you do it with so much panache, grace, and it's
Thank
just,
you.
I think it's just perfect, David. It's sort of
Thank you.
bold, it's accessible, obviously it's beautiful, and it's sort of just, you just sort of exude your brand in many ways. And as I said, I've been following your journey, and it truly is inspiring. And I think a lot of people here think that too. We're going to read a comment by Mr. Rajpa, who says, I have a View TV, awesome experience. Thank you. Rachna Setu says, that's so true. Um, People want to know, okay, guys, she's answered this already. Varun Kailash, she says the next release is going to be around the festive season. So if you just hold
I
on
will
to the
not
festive
mention,
season,
just guys, please wait 2 weeks. Just 2 weeks, just wait it out.
two
Two
weeks. Okay,
weeks.
we've gone from festive season to 2 weeks, guys. So I'm glad you asked those
I didn't
questions.
say which festival.
She didn't say which festival, of course. We have no idea which is the biggest festival in India, but we will just keep that
Please
on the
wait.
side. Okay,
Please
let's
wait.
take
I'm
this
working
question
non-stop.
from
I spent my whole Sunday morning working towards my new launch. Please wait.
2 weeks, guys. Stay tuned to the View Technologies Instagram page as well, because they will be releasing their new product through the page as well. Vamsi Dasati says, super inspiring journey, Devita. Okay, let's take this question here from Avula Sandeep Reddy. Are you bringing in the new Google Chrome TV interface to India in your new TVs? Is this happening?
So here's the thing, guys. At View, whenever we launch something, we do it in a very secret manner. Only 6 or 7 people in the whole company knows what's coming. And the day we launch, the whole world knows. Even out of 300 people, only like 10 people would know pre-launch what we're launching. So I'm sorry, I can't give you any answers. Just wait and watch. Watch this space. When you know, the whole world will know.
Okay, thanks for that. Avinash, Rachna, Vamsi, I hope that takes care of your questions as well. Varun Kailash, same question. Thanks, Varun, for asking. Okay, let's take this question from Yashraj, who says, a lot of Indian women look up to you for inspiration, Devita. How many Indian tech CEOs are there in India who are women? Any idea on numbers?
Well, the thing is, the word tech has actually become very broad. So anybody who is in e-commerce, everyone who's building an app, anyone
Even
who
an
is doing
Instagram
these,
influencer
even an
is now
Instagram
running in tech.
influencer is now in tech. So I would
Yeah.
not say that, this sort of when I joined in, women in tech was almost an oxymoron. But now I think the word tech is very broad because tech has now just become so pervasive. Tech is like air or money. There's no one definition. It's just everywhere, it touches all our lives. So I will not say that, I'm the only tech CEO in India. That isn't true. That was true 15 years ago. But today there are so many smart young women doing such amazing work, Indian women in India and Indian women abroad, that yes, we're out there.
Okay. Okay. So since we're on this topic of technology, how is technology consumed, Devita Saraf? How much technology do you use in your everyday life? Would you wake up and sort of check your phone, check your Insta account? Like, what are your touch points with technology through the day? Let's talk a little bit about that.
I mean, pretty much. I'm always accessible on my phone, and in the morning, obviously, the first thing we all see is our phones. But then, I use my phone, laptop, and TV for work, for working out, for my social life, now my travel life, my even if I want to learn, if I want to watch a documentary, I want to learn to cook something, I want to learn to, learn a new language, I want to learn a song, music. I think tech is like, it's like my companion in every part. It's just the sort of size of the screen changes, but especially during the lockdown, tech has been our constant companion
Hmm.
throughout. And you can actually use it for a lot of really sensible things. You just have to be very discerning yourself of how you can, of what you watch.
Hmm.
There's 50 channels. You can watch what you want. You make that choice
So tech is your companion. I like that. It's sort of like your buddy for everything, huh?
all the time.
All the time. Okay, great. Prashant Chapure, which television is in your home? Prashant, I think you should know the answer to that question before you pose it, but we'll let Devita
I think
address
you
that in
meant
her
which
own
model. I
words.
think Prashant meant which model. So in my personal bedroom, I have VS Cinema TV. In my living room, I've got a 75-inch TV. My dad's bedroom has a 55-inch TV, but we also have like five, six TVs lying around all the time because I'm always testing product. So there's a my TV in fact is not even mounted on the wall, it's on a stand because every few days, every few weeks we're getting new product, we're doing testing, where
And you're
trials are going
testing.
on. So there's the TV in my house changes all the time. So
Okay.
yeah, I can't say that this I endorse this one particular TV of mine because even before we launch a TV, very often I take it home or my team takes it home now, and you think of it as a user. We test it for 50 parameters and then we launch it. So my house has my TVs. It also has my sample and testing TVs, prototypes, beta models. So yeah, there's a lot of TVs in the Saraf family.
Okay. All right, Prashant, I hope that took care of your question. Let's go back to what we were talking about, right? So you said technology sort of, touching all our lives, especially during the lockdown. I mean, we eat with technology, we working out with technology. Of course, we spend our days working with technology. You know the movie Social Dilemma that's come out, and a lot of us have obviously watched it. Some of us actually went off, Instagram or whatever. I mean, for a day or two, just because you're so freaked out at that point. Um, where are you on this debate? Where do you stand on this debate of like, are these companies, usurping our data? Is this really a privacy threat? Do you perceive it as a privacy threat, or do you think this is being blown out of proportion and it's sort of just exaggerated? What's your stand on this?
So I would not, being in the industry, I would not say that it's right to compare technology to drugs.
Hmm.
You know, it said that one of the quotes in the movie, the documentary, said that there are only two industries they call their consumers users, and it's illegal
The
drugs and software.
drug,
So
yeah.
I would not say that, hey, tech is a drug, it's bad for you, it's gonna, take away your life and all that stuff. Of course, it has to be a lot more regulated than it is today. And I think Tristan Harris and all the speakers had fantastic points on that. And I thought that the movie was, the documentary, whatever you want to call it, was really well explaining the concept of what really goes on, with the way they showed him talking about it. And then they showed Vincent Kartheiser from Mad Men as it's sort of playing
Hmm.
engagement, growth, as the actor, and then of course they showed the protagonist. It was beautifully explained. The one thing which I have actually been propaganding for the longest time is also always understand that as long as the humans are the master and tech is the servant, we're safe. That swap shouldn't happen. You shouldn't be controlled by it. And I'll tell you what happens essentially. I have been using Facebook for 15 years because I had it when I was at university too. But if you go on my Facebook page or you go on my Instagram page, it looks like an Aadhaar card because there
Hmm.
is just my photo, my location, like it just says like Mumbai, it has my birth date or something, education. I indulge in more what I call ephemeral content. So I will put a bunch of pictures, I'll put a news article, I'll put stories, I'll put a video, and then a few days later I'll take like a pocha and like delete it all. And I
Sure.
started doing this a few years ago, which it even turned up in the newspaper where someone said, "Is she okay? Why is she doing this?" And as
Hmm.
I said, at View, we're ahead of everybody else because it's our job to sort of predict consumer patterns in technology. That's part of what we do. And what I realized was people tend to see all their pictures, their sort of Insta page or their Facebook page as their identity.
Yeah.
So they add content to it, and then it sort of becomes a visual resume. And then they sort of become victims to that image where they have so many posts and so many pictures. That's when they say, hey, this is who I am. These are who my friends are. This is what I'm all about. This is my reputation. And then they sort of are stuck in that space. Whereas for me to be successful in my business, considering my consumers are getting younger each year, I've had to reinvent every few years, which means you literally take what you have and you break it all and you restart. And even in the View brand, we always keep it fresh because we come up with a campaign, very successful. We come up with a product, very successful, discontinue and come up with something completely fresh and new. So not having so much of images on social media gives us a clean slate each time to define who we are, to make the choices we want to do, to decide, hey, what do we want coming next on that page, as opposed to feeling that your feed or your post or your page, whatever you call it, is your asset. It's not an
Sure.
asset. I take all my pictures, I download them, it's on a hard disk, sit in a safe. But I don't go on a lonely day and see my photos and be like, oh yeah, this is me. That is not you. That is not a mirror. That is what you were posting at that point, and you have the choice and the right and the freedom to change it. So all I'm saying in situation like this, like what I'm seeing on Social Dilemma, what I'm seeing with friends around me, it makes you interesting to have your whole life out there. But for your mental health and for your ability to be fresh, for your ability to even surprise yourself, surprise friends, surprise consumers, please don't leave such a trail. It's like if I meet someone at a party, I will not spend 45 minutes telling them my life history, right? I'll probably just tell them what I'm doing right now. And then if there's an interest, maybe get into the life history. So stop putting your whole life history out there and then being defined by it or being stuck by it and saying, oh my God, now these are the people who are my clique and now I can't get out of it. Or this is my style and I can't get out of it. You have the choice.
Sure.
You can say, you know what, I want to change of career, I want to change of hairstyle, I want to change of friends, I want to change of decor, I want to change of mindset, I want to change of diet, I want to change of whatever. First thing, delete everything you have, start fresh. So in Social Dilemma, the challenge is how people are seeing Facebook and Instagram as as who they are, as a reflection
As their
of
digital
who they
identities.
are,
Yeah.
as a digital identity.
Yeah.
Put nothing. And then start fresh. And then what will happen? You will pick up the best bits of yourself again next time. So it's a sort of process of elimination where if Vibha decides I want to clean up the Vibha Kagzi page, she'll probably just keep 5 pictures that she likes. And then she'll like, hey, you know what? I love doing yoga and that's what I want to make my next thing all about.
And sort of
Bringing
rediscover
yoga
yourself.
institutes together at, put Reachivy within fitness and yoga.
Sure.
I would just say this to everyone out there that yes, it's become very easy to say tech is the new drug or tech is the new addiction. Tech is tech is like fire. It can burn you, it can help you cook food. It's your choice what you do with it.
Sure.
But personally, as a friend to everyone who's watching here, as much as we love snooping on people, try and keep your digital profile, just digital footprint, just I won't say footprint because footprint has a lot of stuff. Just keep your digital profile as fresh as possible. Just keep what's relevant now. Your whole life history of 15 years is not needed to be out there. Keep few pictures.
Keep it fresh. Reinvent yourself. Look at yourself anew every day. Okay, that's very helpful. Let's take this question. There's a gentleman here, Mr. Mugesh, who's been asking this question. He's asked 3 or 4 times. So, Mr. Mugesh, going to take your question. Where do you see View as a company in the next 5 years? What is the 5-year or the 10-year sort of big picture overview strategy plan look like?
So first of all, that's a terrible question to ask in the middle of a pandemic because none of us even know if we're going to be alive by next year. So anyone who has like predictions for the market, please don't live by those predictions. You never know what the world is going to look like by next year. It will be doomsday for all of us. But having said that, I think at the View Group, we have restructured it to be a group that's focused on new age technology. So whether it's lifestyle products or work style products, we will always be making products which are enhancing consumer lifestyles and consumer work styles. Very, very millennial focused for sure, for young and young at heart. And I think we're always sort of going to be a product company in that space.
Okay, Mr. Mukesh, hope that took care of your question. Let's take this question from Shreya Jain, who asks, what do careers look like in the IT and the technology sector? So career opportunities, generally, even at your company, what sort of career opportunities are there for people that could, they could apply to jobs at View Technologies?
Great. So I think one of the first things is, of course, there's always like, the back-end jobs are uniform for every industry. So whether it's finance, legal, HR, operations, these are the ones which are similar in every industry. So if you are looking to do your CA and you have a passion for tech and you want to, be in the accounts department or the CFO of a tech firm, that's of course an opportunity that if you like the industry and jobs which are more specific, more domain is more consumer facing, which is more development, more is like product, marketing, sales. These are more specific where you have to have domain industry knowledge. In this case, it may help to have an understanding again of the subject, which say I majored in marketing. It's important to understand the tech industry as a whole and then choose your specialization. Because I do see a lot of people fall into the term rabbit hole of being specialists and then suddenly they're out of place. So whether you are in whether you're working for a tech company, whether you're working in the software side or e-commerce side or wherever, make sure that first of all, are you the development person? Are you the marketing person? Are you the salesperson? Are you the finance person? Like, what is your skill?
Your functional
Secondly,
skill. Okay.
your functional skill. The second thing is understand how the whole thing works. So while you want to be like, hoodie in a corner, like typing away, try and understand the entire supply chain of how the whole company works. Try and understand how everything works. Don't be sort of stuck in your zone. And then the third thing is when you say, okay, this is how I fit into this company, this is my specialization. So my specialization is luxury consumer electronics. This is how I bring it in. So whether you are just starting out or whether you have a refreshed career, I would say that be generalize, understand the industry in tech, because it's very important that, some companies have lakhs of employees and you don't want to be collateral damage when they do layoffs. You want to be someone who's a bit flexible, and tech changes very fast. So understand how the industry works and then be the best at that sort of micro job that you do.
Okay, so I like it. So you're saying sort of have a micro skill set, but also keep your eyes on the macro.
The whole industry.
Understand the organization, understand the industry. Okay, great.
Correct.
Let's get this question. Yashraj has been asking many questions. Yashraj, I'm sorry I haven't taken all your questions, but I'm going to take this one. What's it like?
Yashraj, you can call me as a speaker on your platform and I will answer all your questions.
All right, let's take this question for now. What's it like being a CEO in a family-run business and carving out your own space over time? Okay, let's take that. How do you feel? Like, we've talked about numbers, we talked about your product, we talked about the industry. Let's talk about your feelings. How do you feel? Like, how does this whole journey feel like to you?
I mean, I kind of like it because I think what happens is I'm someone who is very much likes to do things her way. I have a lot of respect for everyone around me, and I like the fact that, we all take care of each other, whether it's a family, whether it's my team, whether it's the extended team, like we're all watching each other's back. So that's always fantastic. But I think I've always been someone who, when you come from an entrepreneurial family, the sense of identity and individualism is generally very strong. So It's not like I'm forced to conform and say, hey, this is the industry norm, you have to follow it. I'm like, you know what, I'm going to take a risk with this. You like it, that's, or you don't like it. I really think I have a gut feel. I want to build this store. I want to build this product. I want to do this campaign. I want to do so and so. If it works, great. If it doesn't work, again, it's my fault. I'm going to take the sort of bear the brunt for it. So the environment in my family is very encouraging because everyone's a risk taker. There isn't too many people saying, don't do that. What will people say? Don't do that. It can be a huge loss. Don't do that. It's not what we do. This is not how the Saraf family does it. They're like, okay, cool. You want to go off to the US and learn how to make high-end products, like do it. I mean, think through it very practically, but do it. So I definitely come from a very encouraging family. Having said that, I am the youngest. So while they may say that, oh, everybody listens to you, I still have to listen to everyone before they listen to me, which is kind of nice sometimes. You're kind of taken care of. But overall, how do I feel? I think for me, what I end up feeling most of the time is a lot of sense of responsibility. Today the company is big. When I started out, View was my company. Now it's
Sure.
our company because my team has also put in the prime of their youth building this business. So even
Sure.
when the lockdown happened, we were the only company to actually pay advance salaries to the employees because we're first thinking of them too. So now I feel this responsibility that, hey, if I'm like in this, like, I don't feel like doing much, I'm getting bored. I'm like, no, I have to think of everyone who looks up to me. I have to be strong. I have to continue being driven. I have to be positive no matter what the situation. Because now, as a boss, I've taken on that sort of challenge. And now I have a responsibility back to my consumers. I have the responsibility to my team. I have the responsibility, of course, to my family and friends, but also to the country and the world and say, you know what, I've got so much success out of it, but I have to give back and make sure that if
So,
students need guidance or if anyone needs my help, I'm always should be open to it.
so the family is extended from literally just the Saraf family to like the employees, your customer
Everyone,
base, your suppliers,
the
the country as a
entire,
whole.
yes, absolutely. It's a large conglomerate now.
Okay, that's very nice. It's almost spiritual, the way you're explaining it. Like you see yourself as like part of the bigger cosmos, and it's not just you and your dad and all of that. Okay,
I don't think
these guys
any
are
leader thinks of themselves as in a silo. I mean, everyone has a very big picture. I mean, I'm very fortunate. I've met the world's top CEOs and
sure,
business leaders, and I always find that there's a strong sense of altruism in them because bosses generally, by nature, do put other people first, even if that's not the general perception. You may have a show like a Bad Boy Billionaires, which brings up a bad apple and then paints all
sure,
salves
and
in one
also
light. But
right.
actually, CEOs generally take on a lot of stuff to keep the ship afloat. And I think that's something they don't always talk about. But there's always this sense of caring for everyone who is dependent on them, which is not often
Sure.
highlighted.
Absolutely. Okay. I'm going to take this last one or two questions that these guys have been persistently asking. Tej and Mr. Sood, going to take your question. They're actually asking, Devita, can they purchase the TV offline in Chennai and in Delhi? Is this possible to purchase the TV
Guys, you can
offline?
just DM us on @View Televisions and my team will take care of you.
Okay, great. So Tej and Sood, there she's answered the question for you. Thank you for the persistence in asking that question. David, as we close, just, final words of advice for just aspiring entrepreneurs, whether they're in the technology space or not, whether they're women or not, just generally, if you were to give advice to a young person who aspires to be an entrepreneur and be a CEO of an organization, what should they be doing? What should they not be doing?
I think the first thing is there are two ways to earn money. Either you earn money from salary or you earn it from profit. Okay, these are the only two ways I look at. Either it's your time or you're taking a risk. So somehow a lot of traditional business values of building a profit is somehow gone out of style when people are just looking at valuations and run rates and GMVs and this and that and all that stuff. But there is merit in just, unit economics and building your business pie by pie. So I would say to anyone who wants to be an entrepreneur, I know that every day, you see stories online, unicorns, magazines, Forbes, Fortune, ET, BT, everything out there talking about someone became a bazillionaire and then they're getting an award and then they're on the cover and then they're like giving this big speech and then they've got like 5 million followers on Instagram. Yeah, okay, great. I mean, my Instagram's a private account, so I couldn't get a damn for, 5 million followers. It's most only for my friends and I. But I make a profit. It's a solid business. I pay myself, I pay my team, I pay my suppliers, I pay my distributors. It's boring, but I make a profit. So, and that's how I can survive. And that's how I can own 100% of this business and do what the
Sure.
hell I want to do because I'm not answerable. Today, if you raise money from outside unnecessarily, trying to grow your business very fast, you are giving up equity and you are losing control of the business that you have a vision for. So take your time and build your business organically. And first try and see, however small it is, that it makes a profit, and then expand on it. And
Okay.
don't think that, building a business is just about landing a Forbes cover. All that stuff will come. It'll take a while. I've been doing this for 15 years now. But first, make sure that your business makes $1. Make sure your business
Okay.
makes a profit. Make sure you make enough money. Make sure that you are not in debt. Make sure that you create value, and then dream of all the million things you want to do with it.
Okay, that's it, guys. That's it from Devita Saraf. Keeping it real. Focus on the substance. Focus on the money, and then the rest of the shusha, the fluff, the glamour, and the glitz will follow. Thanks, Devita.
Thank you.
Obviously everything you said, you actually stand for. So you totally practice what you preach, and I've seen you do that. Absolute honor to have you on the show, Devita, and we'll look
Thank
forward
you.
to
Thank
catching up
you.
with you offline. Thank you so much. You can just end. Thank you so much.
Bye, guys.
Bye bye. All right, guys, that brings us to the end of House of Experts episode number 27.